So we had some other people in the studio using this setup.
Yeah.
So my daughter Kirsten, who's 12, 7th grade, she had a school project she needed to do. They had to do a podcast. And so her and her friend came over and used our setup.
Yep. We both just watched it, and it was great.
Quite entertaining.
It was.
To say the least.
Yeah.
And she did a great job editing it too.
Yeah. Good comedic timing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, maybe we can be replaced here in the future.
I think so. And she was on this podcast one time we did Avatar. Yeah.
Yeah, we did. I forgot about that.
She was on. Yeah. So you all might have seen her, but yeah, no, she did a good job. It was good.
Yeah. So future podcast stars.
That's right.
Hey, welcome back to Screen Time TV, the podcast where we discuss the latest streaming shows. It's got the famous game show Based or Waste.
Yes.
We normally discuss what we've been watching, and then our main topic is the show we're covering, which currently is Severance Season 2, and today we are discussing Episode 3. So Jared, I love you, even though you left me with the check at Pips.
Yeah. I would love to go to Pips sometime, just to see how it is. Mm-hmm. It's been mentioned a lot in the show.
Mm-hmm. Definitely,
it's got to be good.
Used a lot more in season 2, even in season. Yeah. So, if you don't know me, my name's Josh, and that's my co-host Jared.
Josh, the board is jubilant at your ascendance. It wants you to feel appreciated and asks if you do.
I do.
Good.
I feel much appreciated. Cool. So, any feedback we got to cover from
yes, we do have
episode?
Feedback.
Sweet.
Yes.
Always love the feedback. If you want to send us some feedback, you can do it through the comments or email us at feedback@screentimepod.com.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Send us feedback and we'll always talk about it up front. So this is feedback from Chandra from episode 2. She says episode 2 further confirms in my mind that Helena is the only H lady walking around anymore. So she's on the same thing. I can't remember if were you thinking that too? I know I mentioned it. So you're feeling that too. Okay. Yeah. And also that, she's jealous of Hallie and Mark's connection, which, we talked about last week as well. And if anyone wants a throuple, it's her. Does seem to be that way.
Man, that Mark, man, he's
doing well. Yeah. He's got Hallie, Helena, and Gemma.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Well, and Miss Cabell, I guess. Right?
Yeah. He's got multiple or had multiple opportunities maybe for thruples.
She went to throuple with the innie and the outie though.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Do you think throuple is the word of 2025?
It is now. We'll keep going with that for the whole year. That'll be the word of the year. Let's see if there's anything else in this. And she also thinks it's funny Rick calling Mark's any his worky.
Mm-hmm. I think we talked about that.
Yeah, we did talk about that. Yeah.
It's like another word made up.
Yeah.
It's like already the innies and the outies is funny. And then yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Well, thank you for writing in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More of you write in.
Yeah. Write in. Yeah. Or you can leave a comment like you mentioned just on the YouTube video or wherever.
All right. Well, you want to get into what we've been watching?
Yeah.
What do you got? You got much?
I don't have a bunch. No. I have two things.
I don't have a bunch either. So
okay.
Yeah.
So you have over or under 2. What do you have?
I guess.
Or do you have a 0.5?
Yeah, kind of 2.5, I guess.
Okay. All
so
right.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, one of them we might both have.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Mythic Quest Season 4.
Yes, that is one of mine.
So watch the first 2 episodes of this because it dropped the 2 episodes.
Yep.
It's great. I mean, I don't know what. I mean, I
There's
don't
not much to say about it.
Not much more specific to say because I mean, we're not reviewing. But if you've not watched Mythic Quest,
yeah, it's awesome.
It's funny. Definitely, it's a workplace comedy, but for a game development company.
Yep.
So if you do any gaming and stuff, like probably find it extra funny if you're in that world. And
yeah, I definitely get a lot of the jokes because
there's some stuff that like if you don't game, you might not get, but there's still plenty of just normal life and dealing with coworkers stuff that's funny and it's good. And I think the season is kicked off good, strong.
Yes. Yeah. I only watched the first episode of the new season, but yeah, it's my main kind of thing is just, I think this show is just always been a really reliable, just workplace comedy. Mm-hmm. All 3 seasons have been great. And yeah, so far season 4, I'm kind of surprised they're already on season 4. But yeah, it's still really fun. And there's also now going to be a spinoff of it.
Yeah, but I think it's
coming out soon.
I think
right?
it comes out right as this season ends.
Okay.
And I think it's just a mini series. Like it's not like going to be multiple seasons.
And I think it's just like a different story each episode.
Yeah.
I think that's how it's formatted.
Probably, as I think we mentioned this before, but first couple seasons, they had the one-off episodes that were like standalone.
Yeah, those were always my
kind of episodes.
Those were always my favorite.
Those were always interesting and really well done. Yeah,
and like way more serious. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I'm wondering if this is like they had some other ideas for that, and they were like, you know, let's just do a mini series kind of spinoff thing and just kind of tackle some of that stuff in that way. That instead of trying to insert it as like a one episode random in the series.
Yeah, that could be what it is. That makes a lot of sense. That's probably something like that with it.
Yeah. So we should see that. Well, I think
it's like pretty soon.
April, May, sometime.
Yeah.
So maybe they'll be before this ends. I don't know because there's probably 10 episodes in this.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
So maybe it hits before this is over. But
yeah.
Oh, all right. Then I will go another because
that's on Apple. I don't know.
Yes, Apple TV Plus.
Yep.
Mythic Quest.
Yep.
All right. Here's a Peacock.
Okay.
Peacock, based on a true story.
Right. Is this a new season of it?
There was a season 2 came out late November.
Okay.
But it kind of, I don't know, it's kind of bubbled up in conversation, which reminded me, I had every intention of watching season 1 and never watched it. So.
Oh, you never did? Okay. So it does seem like a Josh show to me. It does.
All right. So
I thought you would have already watched it.
The premise of this, now I've only watched the first episode of season 1, but the premise is this couple, the lady is really into listening to murder podcasts.
It's the girl from Big Bang, right?
Yes, that actress.
I don't remember
her flight attendant
name. Flight attendant also. Yeah,
recently. So, and then her husband's kind of like a washed up old tennis player.
Okay.
And so they're down on their luck. They need money. Blah blah blah. And then they figure out that the serial killer in their area in L.A. They figure out who it is.
Mm.
And so instead of turning him in, they have a proposition at the end of the first episode to like collaborate on a podcast.
Okay.
So I guess like
they're talking to the killer.
I don't know. They didn't do it yet.
Okay.
They just approached him about it. But the first episode was fun. It was entertaining and kind of funny and good. And so yeah.
It's interesting that there's now at least 3 that I can think of off the top of my head. TV shows now based on podcasts or like about podcasts. Yeah,
like the central story.
That it's like...
Yeah. Well, you've got the murders in the...
Yeah, only murders.
In the building.
There was another one on Netflix. I never watched it that came out semi-recently, and it was people that were like podcasters that go to like...
I didn't watch that one either.
Yeah.
But I thought you were talking about, because there's the one that did really well. That was, that had Kristen Bell in it. That was...
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's also... that's not as like...
Not as central to the story.
To the plot, but yeah.
But yeah.
So just, I'm like, I guess... podcasts are that big now, but it's interesting that there's so many TV shows now already about it.
Yeah. Just such a part of our culture now.
True. Yeah. And I appreciate that people watch this one.
Yeah.
And or listen to it.
Yeah, so that's Peacock.
Okay.
Pretty fun. I mean, I've been
So you
hearing
do
good,
like
I've
it?
been hearing good things about season 2 also.
Okay.
So if if something made it that far, people like season 1, like that's why I was like, let me check it out. And the first episode was good.
Okay.
Like the dynamic in the couple, it's funny, and like,
Is she still doing the flight attendant also? Do you know?
I don't know if I think the first season was based on a book, and then the second season they even like had to make up because there was no book material. So I don't know if they're doing a third, because the second was not nearly as good as the first. The first season was good.
It's always tricky.
Yeah.
I'm very worried about that with Shogun.
Oh yes. Yes.
They already committed to 2 more seasons.
Yeah.
So
All right. What do you got? I'll see.
yeah, my other one is also came out this past week. Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man.
Yeah.
This is on Disney.
Animated.
Animated, yes. I just want to check it out. I mean, I like Spider-Man anyway, but this animated show, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to stick with it. But I don't know if I really like the animation style. It's supposed to be very look like a comic book, but very different than the Spider-Verse films, because those were like amazing animation and just so unique. But this is, I don't really know how to describe it, but it's trying to be like a comic book come to life, like off the page. But there's something about it I don't really like.
Okay.
Unfortunately. But that's kind of my. But the show's cool. I didn't watch that much of it. It was pretty fun though. The main thing is Aunt May is in this, and she's still hot in this, just like in the movies. So there you go. But
not the old Aunt May, no, because I mean there was a version when Aunt May was old.
No, but I'm talking Marissa Tomei and the Spider-Man movies.
No, I know,
yeah.
but I'm just like there are variations where Aunt May
Yes, there is. Yeah, like the Sam Raimi ones.
Like
yeah,
she's almost like her grandma. Yeah, but they're even like
very good,
animated. There's animated.
Oh,
ones
is it?
that
Yeah, I
were
guess
like
so.
that too. Yeah, older stuff.
Yeah, but no, it's definitely similar to
It does
Marissa
make more
Tomei.
sense if she's the aunt, that she wouldn't be like old, but
Yeah, well, also this version of like even the movie with Tom Holland, I think he's supposed to be a little younger than like even.
well, he was high school.
Yeah, okay, so maybe it is the same, because I was thinking Tobey Maguire, in the Spider-Man movies. I guess that was also high school.
Yeah,
But his aunt and uncle were really old in that.
mm-hmm.
But I think Tobey Maguire just didn't look like a high schooler in those movies. Like he looked like he was like 25 at least. So maybe that's the difference. Tom Holland actually looked like his age. But
yeah.
But anyway, so this show was okay. I think I would like it more if it was like a really unique, cool art style like the Spider-Verse movies. But I don't know, it's just kind of weird. But yeah,
Gotcha.
That's it. So yeah, that's Disney.
Cool.
And that's it.
So
That's all I got.
So then my other
Get a 0.5.
yeah, my 0.5
Okay.
is another Vision Pro
Okay.
corner. So I got 2 things I'm going to mention. First is actually a game. So there's a new game that came out sometime the last couple of weeks I played. It's an augmented reality tower defense game,
Nice.
which is kind of fun because then it's like each level it's more like playing a board game that you can see in front of you, but everything's animated and moving.
Yeah.
And you can of course control and pick like do things. And it's a lot of fun. It's like it's a good tower defense game, like the design of the game, but then also playing it in augmented reality.
That's
It's
cool.
kind of cool. And so just wanted to bring it up, mention it.
Well, I know you like, I mean, I do too. You like tower defense games in
Yes.
general, right? Especially like the old iPhone tower defense games.
Mhm.
I was really into them like back in the day.
Yeah, like Field Runners and
Yeah.
what was that?
There's another one that I used to love.
Of course, there was Plants vs.
Well,
Zombies.
the first Plants vs. Zombies was
good. Yeah.
so good. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a handful of them back.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't really play them anymore, but yeah, I've always liked that style of game.
Yeah, it's fun.
And that's a really cool idea, seeing it in
Yeah.
augmented reality.
Yeah. So it's done well. It's very cool. It's called Gears and Goo.
Okay.
So, but then also there was a new Vision Pro immersive experience short film or whatever, short doc, whatever you want to call it. This one was called Man versus Beast, and it was bull riding.
Okay.
Not something I've ever really watched.
Yeah.
Right.
Me neither.
But dude, it was intense. Like, I mean, really.
Well, yeah, these you really feel like you're
because any of
a
these
part
you
of
do
it,
feel
yeah.
like you're there.
Yeah.
And in this case, like, I mean, there's definitely several times where I'm like, how did they not destroy this camera? Like, it didn't like get like destroyed, but like
Maybe they did.
Maybe it did eventually, but like
Yeah.
you're seeing the shots of these bulls, like, and it's crazy cool.
Yeah, what I've using your Apple Vision Pro, like just the stuff that I've tried with it, yeah, those immersive things are crazy. And obviously, just talking about it, it's never any type of virtual reality thing. It's like you can't really explain it fully. Like you have to just
Can't do
experience
justice,
it for yourself. Yeah,
for sure.
but it's definitely because it's Apple. Like it's definitely the next level of not just like a normal virtual reality thing. Like it does feel very real. And I'm still whenever there's more music related stuff, I'm very interested in it. So let me know.
You never watched the one, right? The one
What was
music
the one?
performance from the one lady.
Oh no, I didn't. Yeah, I remember you talking about
Yeah.
it. No, I did not.
It was like released in like December, I think.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out. Yeah. I'm waiting for the live concert thing. Like they need to do that. That'd be sick.
Yeah. Well, none of
Was that the one? Was it like a live concert?
It was a live
I thought it
performance
was an
of-
in studio thing, like the Alicia Keys.
No, it was like it was like a different. I mean, it was like more like on a stage and stuff. It wasn't like,
Okay.
so it was like more like a
Not in the
live
studio,
live
okay.
performance, but it was also not. There was no crowd there
Gotcha. Okay.
because that's what. And that series is called like, I think like a performance for one or something like that.
Mm.
Something like that. And I think it's like a live performance, but no one else there. But
Okay.
there's supposed to be more of them, but that was they only released one so far.
All right.
All right. So, and then before we get into base waste, two other little news tidbits I wanted to just bring to people's attention, especially Severance fans.
Mm. Yes.
If you haven't noticed, Lumen has a LinkedIn page.
Okay, this is not I didn't know about this. I just know the other thing that you're probably going to mention that I definitely was very excited and aware of.
Okay.
But
Yeah, probably. But yes. So, yes, if there is a Lumen LinkedIn page.
okay.
And it's amazing. So go.
And it has
Well, it just looks like it's like a real business on
Right.
LinkedIn.
and it has all the employees.
What post stuff?
mentioned
Like
or
it just it posts
just
things
post- okay.
like it's like a business, but so it's funny. It's good.
Is there any like useful information? Like, have any of the Redditors or anything found anything on
I don't know.
on it that's like actually like useful lore or whatever, or something about the world?
Not that I've
of
heard. I mean,
Severance?
anything new, but
Yeah.
but sure, there's stuff there.
Nice.
But then probably the one you're referring to is in Apple Books.
Yes, it's finally here. What we've been asking
the first
for,
8 chapters
Okay.
only.
and it's not a book yet. It's just the audiobook, right?
No, there's
Or
a
they did
digital book.
Okay, I just saw the audiobook, but
And there's an
Back here.
audiobook.
the UUR.
The UUR is officially
Yeah.
released, the first 8 chapters, and you can either read it in a digital format or listen to the audiobook. And I would recommend the audiobook because it also is read by
Is it him?
the actor that plays
Michael
Rick.
Chernus? Yeah.
Michael.
That's
yes.
great.
And so it is fantastic. And
I just saw a trailer for it on Apple's YouTube page, and I was like, "Oh man,
yeah,
I'm so glad they're finally doing this."
I didn't see the trailer. I saw, I think, I don't know, but I've listened to like at least I think 4 or 5 of the chapters.
Nice.
Yeah. And it's awesome because like you get to the parts where there's the short quotes that like we already had from season 1, and you're like, oh, but this was all the other words around it before it and after. So that's pretty cool.
So it's I mean, are they going to do more of it, or is it just like, so they're saying this is not the full book?
It's not the full book. It's only, but it's in the intro because it's all related. It's all related to what happened in this episode, where Natalie shows up.
Yes.
And wants to publish in any version. And so he intros there's like a little preface in the book.
Yeah.
Where it mentions like the first 8 chapters were the only thing that Lumen was okay with him releasing.
Oh, and so this is like the Annie version.
I don't think it's supposed to be any version.
No,
but I think it's because of his publishing deal with Lumen. It's like implied that he's only allowed to release the first 8 chapters so far.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Yes. So
well,
it's out
I'm
there.
just glad it's there now.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. So it's time for.
Yes. It is time for Based or Waste.
It's time for Based or Waste.
Welcome back, everyone, to Based or Waste. Play along at home. We are doing TV shows again this week. We did movies last week. So this is the game show where we go on Rotten Tomatoes, just check what is trending. And I picked 10 TV shows and or movies that are trending and look at the audience score. And Josh is going to guess if they're good or bad, if they're based or waste. So yeah, we got 10 TV shows for this week. Are you ready, Josh?
Always.
All right. Good. Good to hear. Okay, the first one is Prime Target, season 1. Ooh. This is a new Apple show.
Yeah.
That I have not watched.
I haven't either, but I was planning on checking it out.
Yeah, I thought about checking it out.
I haven't watched it, so I don't know. I'm going to say based.
Correct. Yeah, 71.
Oh, not bad.
See how you do this time.
Yeah.
With TV. Okay. Next one, I guess this also, I don't follow this show, but I guess this just came out also, is The Night Agent season 2.
Oh. Yeah, it's Netflix.
Yeah.
I also did not watch season 1 of this. But
yeah, I haven't watched this.
I'll say based.
No.
Ooh.
This one's a waste. 47.
Ooh.
I think people like this show though, so maybe just
I think people like season 1.
Right.
So yeah, that's why that's because I remember people liking season 1. So
yeah, I've seen a lot about it that it seems like a lot of people like it, but
so that's why I went
unfortunately
guess that I did, but
yeah,
I guessed wrong.
This next one, I'm very curious about the show and did start it, but I'll mention it probably in the next podcast. But Paradise, season 1. Do you know what this is?
I think so. I'm trying to remember.
It's the creator of This Is Us new show.
Right.
Don't remember the guy's name, but
yeah, and I have it down to check out as well. But
yeah, it's on Hulu.
I have not watched it.
I watched the beginning of it. It's very interesting premise. That's what got me intrigued by it. Also, it's Sterling K. Brown, James Marsden, a few other people I recognize in it. Good cast.
Yeah.
So I never watched This Is Us though.
I didn't either.
So
it's actually another one that's kind of like on
I know
the
it's
list
very
to go back and
different
check
than that,
out. Yeah,
but
yeah. I'm gonna say based.
Yes. 88.
Nice.
Okay. Next one is the show You. This is going to be all the seasons.
Oh.
And I think the final season is
coming out
soon. Yeah.
I'm going to say based.
Yes. 75.
I was like, I knew people like this, including me.
Yeah. I dropped off after season 1. I did really like season 1, but it just got old. It was just kind of the same thing again every season.
Oh, I mean, yeah, in general, but I think they did a good job of changing it up.
You know, I did see season 2 because there was a season where Chris D'Elia was randomly in it, which is interesting, and I think that might have been season 2. So maybe I did still like season 2, but
Because he gets married.
there's like 5 seasons.
Well, this is the 5th season. This is going to be the last season.
Yeah. Okay.
But because he gets married.
Okay,
And
I didn't see that.
And then she's like helping him.
Okay.
So so he finds like so it's like they change it up
Okay.
enough that, and then after that, because he starts in New York, then he ends up in LA,
Yep.
and then he ends up in Europe, and he's in London for season 4,
Okay.
and then
Well, that's good. He's changing up the locations.
yeah,
too.
so that helps too. So it's
Yeah.
like the vibe's different,
Mm,
but I think season 5 is going back to New York to finish it.
that makes sense.
So
yeah. Okay.
Anyway,
Yeah. So you did guess this already?
yeah, based. Yeah.
Based, yeah, 75. Okay. All right. This next one, don't really know anything about this. So it's called Riviera, and it's the whole show. So I think it's 3 seasons. I looked into this because I was like, I have no idea what this is. This is Julia Stiles' TV show. That's all I know about it.
I've never heard of this either.
I think it was on like one of those obscure streaming net, I think like Sundance or something random that no one watched it. And now I guess since it's trending, it's probably on like Netflix or something.
Yeah, put on another
Yeah.
service. I guess I'll just go with based.
Nope.
Okay.
This is a 43.
Well,
All right. These next two make sense for Daredevil Born Again coming out soon. So this is Daredevil, whole show on Netflix.
okay.
3 seasons, I think it was.
Sounds right. Based.
Yes, of course. 89, as it should be.
Mm-hmm.
And then The Punisher,
Also
which was
based.
2 seasons. Yes. Yep. This is a 79. Yeah. Well, we talked about it now. Now they have a trailer for the new show, and obviously the Punisher is going to be in it, which is exciting. It looks great. I'm a little less weary of this, that it's like a Disney show, and it's, seems to be keeping the vibe.
You
of,
unbeliever, you.
well, Disney's track record with Marvel recently has not been great.
Yeah.
Although Fantastic Four teaser today, did you see it?
I did not see it.
Very cool, actually.
Yeah.
I love that it's in the 60s.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's how it should be.
Yeah. We'll see how that movie does, though. Could go either way. I think that's the one, isn't it the guy that did Monarch
Yes.
is doing that movie?
He's also did Vision.
WandaVision, yeah.
WandaVision, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, Matt Shackman.
Yeah. He's also did a lot of It's Always Sunny, which is kind of where he started, or did a lot of that. So, I don't know. That could go either way.
Yep.
We covered Monarch, and it was
more...
he was good at doing like the big stuff. So actually, that'll be good for Fantastic Four. But it was just
So really interesting is, who wrote Fantastic Four versus who
Right.
wrote Monarch, right?
yeah,
So I think that's really what it's going to come to, because I think, I think that was really the struggle with Monarch was
Yes.
the writing.
yeah. Some of those characters were just some of the stuff they did was just
they weren't
it was
fleshed out
weird.
enough, and then so
Yeah, is that coming back, Monarch?
yes, because
Nice.
they're even doing like a spinoff.
Really?
Yes,
Okay. Hopefully it's good.
yeah,
That show was very mixed.
yeah,
for us.
because otherwise, like the production value and like
Oh, yeah, it looked
like,
great.
and then the world building, all
Yeah.
that stuff was really cool.
Yeah.
So if they can get the writing
Yes.
on track, like clean that up a little bit, it could actually be a really good show.
I know, and it's interesting. That's like we've kind of talked about this with a lot of newer shows. That seems to be the crutch nowadays with shows.
Well,
we
there
talked
was a
about the Acolyte
there
and-
was a writer's strike. So,
Sure, yeah,
so do you work around that, or do you hold? And some
yeah.
shows like Severance held.
yeah,
Maybe some other shows didn't.
true, very true.
Because remember, it's like Quantum of Solace. That was the that was the
Yes.
previous writer's strike.
Yes. Which that movie's not bad, but it's definitely the weakest,
Yeah.
or one of the weakest. Not the last Daniel Craig one was the worst,
Yeah.
but
But like, other than that, it's the weakest, and
Yeah.
it's because like Daniel Craig helped write it.
yeah,
Because they were just like,
like
well,
while they were shooting, even
yeah,
right?
yeah.
When you said, yeah,
they just had to write, because
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't want to stop production, so they.
Which can work, because I believe Vince Gilligan did that sometimes with Breaking Bad. We're still like doing some of it as they were filming, like writing stuff out. So I feel like that'd be very
he's
stressful.
Also a writer.
Yes.
Where in this case they had all the writers were on strike, so other people were writing.
Yeah. 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 I don't know how much Daniel Craig has actually just written stuff before. Yeah. All right. We got 3 more.
Okay.
Treason Season 1. I believe this is on Netflix. This is another Charlie Cox show, speaking of Daredevil. I never watched it, though.
Yeah, I'm not even familiar with this.
What do you think?
Let's do based.
No. 39.
Jeez.
That's very low, which
really
sucks. I like that actor a lot.
Yeah.
So it's some British show, because I recognize some other British actors in it, but okay. Last 2. This is another Netflix show. This came out a while ago. I don't know why it's trending right now. Eric, Season 1. This was a very weird Benedict Cumberbatch mini-series.
I remember seeing the trailer for this.
Very strange premise.
Yeah. Based?
Nope.
No, man. One of these has got to be good.
I know. We had a lot of waste actually this week.
Yeah. It's weird that much to be trending. That's also a waste.
I know. Yeah. Yeah, no, this is a 57. So right on the line.
Yeah.
All right. And then the last one, I just mentioned a little while ago, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, Season 1. It's like, did people like the artwork or the art style? I didn't really, but did that hinder the show?
I'm going to say based.
Yes.
All right.
75.
Not failing. We got a
Not
60.
failing. Yeah, I would say, I don't think you've ever gotten only half right. So we're doing
almost close.
Yeah.
That was rough. That was the worst.
So yeah, this is still like, this is probably some of the worst you've done, because I don't think you've ever gotten only 5. But
yeah,
we'll see next week again. Like I said, 2025. Josh is a movie guy now, not TV. Apparently.
Apparently.
Yeah. Okay. Well, better luck next week, Josh. All right. That has been Based or Waste. Tune in next week.
Okay. Now we've got Severance Season 2, Episode 3. Who is alive?
Yes.
Mark, Helly, Irving, and Dylan search for answers.
There you go. That's all that needs to be said.
Yep. All right. So overall thoughts on this episode?
Yeah, this episode was very dense.
Yes.
And I love we're finally moving the plot forward.
Yes.
I really love this episode.
Yes.
And the way the episode ends, I was shocked that we were already getting this specific thing happening. Like I thought that would be way later in the season. So it's exciting that we're already there with that point, which we'll talk about when we get there.
Yeah.
Also, the other thing is, I know because you don't watch trailers, we now have seen pretty much everything that's been shown in the trailers, which I also like when they do that. So everything from here on out is going to be very fresh. So
Nice.
yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I just kind of did it. I think, I mean, as cool as the first 2 episodes were, this is
the best so far.
One so far, because it just, and like you said, so dense. Lot happens in this episode. A lot of kind of things answered, but then more things and adding questions and just, yeah. So, and just, yeah. It's a super great episode.
Do you agree with me though? It's like stuff they put in this episode. It's like, oh, we're doing this already. You know what I mean? Like it's like crazy.
Right. The amount of plot of things that happen in this episode would be a whole season in some other shows.
That's true. Yep.
And like you said, what happens at the end of this? Like I could have seen that being like a season finale,
or like penultimate.
Yeah, and or just like so that like you have to wait a whole another, till
hopefully not 3 years again.
No, it won't be that. No, it won't be that long.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh wow, we're going here already. All right, let's do it.
I know.
So, which is just exciting because
Very
the show
exciting.
is so well thought out and written and planned. Like, yeah, they're not messing around.
Nope.
All right, well, let's get into it. So, just at the top, I want to mention I go back and forth on how to cover these. So if you have a preference and want to let us know, write in feedback@screentimepod.com or leave a comment. But sometimes and maybe we just go back and forth on what it makes sense. But some episodes
depending on
where
the episode.
everyone's kind of together, it's like, well, let's just follow the outline of how it happened in the show. But then the other episodes like this one where it's a lot of people go off on their own paths,
Yeah.
then it makes more sense to like talk about each of the storylines. So we're going to kind of approach this one that way this week, and just see how that goes. But before we kind of do that, I just wanted the opening before the credits kind of talk about that. And so we get the very brief thing of Miss Cobell in her car waking up and then putting on music.
Mm-hmm.
But then it cuts to Mark getting ready for work, getting in the car and driving into work, and then timing himself
Yeah.
from his car. The reason I
very
wanted to mention
interesting.
this like up front was this stuff, the camera work, all the stuff in this was very different. The vibe was
Yes.
very different.
I did notice that.
So like they did these like punch zooms, they did like long lens, like following him around. Like it just had such a different feel than the stuff they've done before. And so I just kind of want to mention more from that perspective and less like story plot. It was
Sure,
just more
yeah.
like, I just wanted to kind of mention that. I mean,
No,
it's cool, looked great, and it was
It
kind
did.
of, but like, again, even the pacing and the way they cut, like everything was just felt different.
Yeah. I have a note about it because I definitely noticed it too. It felt very different, the way it's filmed. Even though this is Ben Stiller did
Directing.
this episode,
Yeah.
just like the first one. Someone else did the second episode, I want to say, so far.
Yep.
But yeah, the one in particular with Cobell, when she wakes up, well, first, the very first shot where it's just very, very up high, was a great opening shot. But I thought the one that was just like, I don't know what it is about it. Maybe you can explain to me. That just looks so beautiful was her driving away, where you see like, I think it's from the front of her car. It's just the way it's framed. There was like, I don't know. It's just something about it. I was like, this looks so great. And then of course, it was cool to see like things they haven't done before. Like, those quick zoom ins. What is that? That's like the Succession thing, kind of.
A
They
little
do
bit,
that.
like,
Yeah. Like that was cool.
like zoom. It's a zoom in camera, which like,
But it's like a fast
pop zoom. Yeah.
pop soon. Okay.
Yeah.
Even the when he's pulling into Lumen, it's like it seemed like almost like an action scene.
Yeah.
Kind of the way they filmed it. Yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah, the way it was filmed and cut and
Yeah.
everything, was like it was like a almost, I don't know, I want to say we were just talking about James Bond, but like just
for
like
sure.
an action,
It's like that,
which they haven't done that style and anything in this show. So, just thought that was cool. It looked good,
Yeah, it looked really cool.
and it was a neat effect for something that we don't normally see in this. So.
And you're also, at least me, I was immediately. Well,
Like,
I'm
ooh,
always
what's
so
happening?
like why is he timing his watch?
Yeah,
But besides, I mean, it's just starting a new episode of Severance now is just
it's so
it's exciting anyway.
It's so exciting, even if nothing's happening. Even if it's just a shot of Miss Cabell's car
Yep.
parked in the middle of nowhere.
yeah, and
On the
just
side of the
gets
road.
startled by a
by a truck going
truck
by.
going by. Yeah,
Cool. All right. Well, speaking of her, let's just start with her. Hers is her. So Cabell, we see her wake up, and then she's still driving away, and then she sees a sign that says Salt's Next
Salt's Neck,
238.
238 miles away. Yeah,
Well, assuming it's miles, just says 238.
that's true. They could have used something different than
could be
that.
population.
Yeah, but the way the sign looked, it looked like a mile thing. But you never know in this world.
Yeah.
I mean, the cars are all from the 80s and 90s. Still don't understand why that's a thing.
Yep. Anyway, so then she glances down and sees,
Yeah.
besides a stop and seeing the sign, she glances down and sees this old like medical respirator,
Like a
type of-
breathing tube.
Yep, thing from.
We saw it in season 1.
Yep,
It was on her shrine.
yep.
Yeah.
So whatever that is, something from her
Do you-
childhood.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Do you have any idea about this? Wait, you think it is?
I don't know. I mean,
Okay.
do you have an idea what you think it is?
I do, yeah, somewhat.
Okay.
At least something that I was thinking about. Yeah. So it was Inner Shrine. So in season 1, we actually see they do it up close in
Yeah.
season 1. I don't remember the name, but it's some first name, and Cobell is the last name. So
Okay.
like,
Maybe a family
imagine
member
either like, yeah, maybe her mother or grandmother, because it also says a year, and it's like in the 40s. So I'm like, okay, that's and so what I was thinking so far now with what we've gotten, I'm thinking maybe Salt's Neck is her hometown, or maybe where she grew up, and she's thinking about going back there for whatever reason. And then I think the only thing I was thinking about with this breathing tube and why she has it is I think Lumen maybe is somehow responsible for Cobell's mom or grandma or whoever this is, their death. And then that, as a part of that, that's why she keeps this thing around. Because, they're involved in a lot of medical stuff, Lumen, even back in the 1800s. They started...
Death, or do you think, or life, or like helped save their life? Because like her dedication.
Oh, that's true. Either one. Yeah, but I mean, either one, that's what I think, yes, she starts to have that obsession and become part of Kier and like fully bind into the cult.
Yep.
Even singing like these anthems.
Right. Yes.
So no, but that's a good point too. It could be, yeah, they saved her mom or grandma's life, and then she's like, oh, I'm fully buying into this. Yeah, that's a good point.
Organization.
So it could be for a good reason. I just immediately thought of because she's always seems kind of like angry and on a mission that I'm like, oh, maybe they killed her mom or something,
Well,
somehow.
but that leads us to like her own mission is to finish Cold Harbor.
Yes.
Which she started. So then
that's
the other part that we see with her is her meeting Helena in a parking lot in the front of
the parking lot.
The parking lot of Lumen.
Yeah.
And they have a little interaction. She insists she'll come back with these demands.
No, Mr. Milchek.
Yeah, and then she's in charge of MDR and be in charge of the sever floor. I love Helena's response.
Yeah.
She's like, what I hear is pride.
Hubris.
Yeah. And third thing she says, like, just 3 things. Kier teaches us these all cause pain or something.
That's right, yeah.
And so she thinks she's got leverage, but then Helena kind of back. But then she gets the board on the line, which this board is like still we don't know anything about, which is
very involved in this episode though.
But yes, but it's also funny that it's late at night and they're just available. Yeah. I still wonder, I mean, like, do you have any thoughts on like the board?
Not really. I've thought many things, but right now I don't have anything concrete.
I think it's something along the lines of like, kind of what we were talking about in other areas where it's like the hive mind of like
of all the Egans or something.
Yeah, Egans of
or
the
past
Egans and like whether they still have bodies or not.
Yeah.
The reason why you have to have they hear from a speaker and then you have a representative, which is Natalie, right?
Yeah, and that's interesting. Yeah, because if they're like that, and part of what we've talked about before is not only trying to resurrect maybe Kier, but all of them.
Yeah.
And so like whatever state they're in right now, that's the board, quote unquote. And then, but they want to eventually revive them all, I guess. Or
so those are
that makes sense.
Thoughts.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it was just a thing I thought of when this time around. But
it does seem like something like that.
As they move towards the building to go meet with the board, Cobell hesitates.
Yep.
And then she kind of
leaves again.
hustles away.
Yeah.
And like not fast enough to be like to lose her dignity and feel like she's scared, but like there's some speediness to her. Speediness to her.
Hesitant.
Yeah. To like her leaving and that like to the audience watching, you're kind of like, ooh, she's not confident that's safe option. So, I mean, to me, like that's what I was thinking. I was like, well, she probably thinks they're going to kill her, and so she's like, I'm out of here. But we don't know.
I think it's interesting. Cobell says, you know, Mark is so close to finishing Cold Harbor, like you mentioned, and then saying I intend to finish what I started.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't really know to what capacity, but definitely seems like Cobell's also, besides Mark, Cobell is also very crucial to Cold Harbor in some way.
Yeah, he's crucial, and whatever it is, it's important. Yeah. So,
yeah. It's mysterious and important.
Yeah. All right. So that's kind of her, what happened with her this episode.
Oh, I actually had that was another part of this note for that scene when she talks to Helena, is kind of another thing I'm thinking about, a reason why Cobell's crucial to Cold Harbor is. I was also kind of thinking about maybe she's involved or heavily involved in some way with Miss Casey, maybe even had something to do with her accident or bringing her to Lumen in the first place.
Okay.
Just because, you know, when first episode, Mark asks her, you know anything about Gemma, and she gets so frustrated and yells and then drives away, you know. So it's like there's something with her and Miss Casey too, for sure.
Yeah. All right, let's talk a little about Milchick. So Milchick sees the balloons that Mark left in the hall. They were kind of like deflating, as they would, because it's only been a few days, not months like they had originally.
Not 5 months or whatever he said,
lied about. And so he pulls those. He's kind of frustrated pulling them in to his office, and then he gets in his office, and Natalie's there with the board. And the board is there to present a gift to Milchick for making him sure he feels appreciated.
This is so crazy.
Yes, this is, and honestly, this scene so fantastic between them.
Yeah.
So he opens the gift, and it's basically his likeness instilled in all the different Kiers.
Yeah, all the paintings we've seen before of Kier.
Yeah. But
in Milchick's likeness. Yes.
Yes. And then the board wants to let you know that Natalie also received. So like Natalie's not presenting this information. The board is presenting this information that
but
she
Natalie
also got
all
one.
this. Yeah.
And it really, she was happy about it or something.
Yeah. That's where my quote comes from. Yeah.
And, but what I love is this scene where all the things that are being said with their facial expressions.
Oh yeah.
That's not said verbally.
Yes.
And it's
There's
obvious.
a lot of that.
It's obvious that like Milchick's not even smiling
No.
this whole time. Like because the board, he's assuming they only hear him, and he's like says the things he needs to say, but he's just also be like, "This is the dumbest. This is terrible." And then you kind of
see Natalie. Yeah. Also,
she kind of like quivers as she like turns it into a smile.
Once the board is
once they concluded the call.
Conclude the call. Yep. She does change her face.
But then she turns it back to a smile.
Yeah.
But it's such a creepy, like forced smile that she's like, I forget if she says to him, but yeah.
Yeah. It is a very interesting scene. What do you think the reasoning why they did this?
Well, I think I
don't really know.
I mean, I think it's, well,
like, are they at the point just like with MDR? Like, are they just like messing with Milchick now too? Lumen as a whole?
Well, I think, I think at one level it's them,
or manipulating him in some way.
Yeah, some manipulation, but also I think from like the writers and story, like I think it's just them like you poking fun at the large corporations that are so out of touch with that when they try to appreciate the employee, and it's like such a disconnect,
or just try to be heavy-handed with different races of people with the company, and how awkward, because you can see it's awkward in this scene, just how awkwardly big corporations handle it, for sure. I also just want to say I really love this character Natalie, even in season 1, even though we didn't really see her much. I'm kind of glad we're getting more of her in this season. Also, she has the best smile on this show. And like, I mean, we talk about Milchick, he can do the really crazy, creepy smile, but hers is just like, I don't know. She has
It's just
hers is more like,
but it's also so it's like the
there's
pageant
more of a
smile where it's just like
a warmth to hers that. But yeah, you're right. It is kind of like she's like Miss America, or something.
Yeah, just like that pageant smile where you're just
I think it's a beautiful smile. But it's, it is interesting.
All the time.
All the time. Did you think about, because I thought you would point this out, when she first goes in there, it was so cool, the camera move where it's like almost a complete circle around him, and the camera follows her moving while he's looking at the pictures.
Yeah.
But her smile is still there the whole time. But it was really interesting that I haven't really seen them do before. Also, it was cool.
Yeah, and then just last note, toward later in the episode, we get this brief shot of him putting it in the closet storage, just up on the top shelf.
Yeah,
I don't care about these.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like he's gonna look at these ever again.
No. All right, so then we have a little more with Natalie.
Yes,
where she approaches Rickon to discuss adopting the UUR for innies.
When this scene started, I was just like, this is crazy that we're getting this, because I never thought she would even leave Lumen and go anywhere. And it's like, oh, she's just in Rickon and Devin's house. Very interesting scene.
Yeah. And also hilarious.
Yes.
Because then Devin comes
Rickon's eating it up,
yeah.
though.
Because he's any attention.
Yeah.
But Devin...
Oh, she's immediately suspicious.
Like, did we ever figure out how the book got in there? And
I know, and they just blow right past.
Oh, we moved past that.
Like,
babe.
No, we've
moved past that, babe. We're discussing
past that.
Yeah, we're discussing.
Yeah.
Oh man! And then what did she say? Some phrases we want to change so that the wording is done and so that innies respond.
Respond in the
stronger way.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I swear, now I can think of his with Rickon.
Yeah.
His upbringing. He talks about his parents in the book.
Yeah.
Did you listen to it?
I have not yet.
Yeah.
He brought up his parents, I believe, in one of them very briefly in the first season too, though.
There's like a whole.
But there's a whole
chapter about his upbringing. And who his parents are and. His birth, even.
Of course, I'm sure he goes really in depth with the birthing. So great. Yeah.
Oh, it just makes me laugh even more, like for the character, like in these moments of the character, because it's like more. I don't know. It's great. Go read it if you haven't. Yeah.
I also this scene. I mean, like I said, Devin clearly is like suspicious, and I think it's interesting though. Like Natalie. Seems like she's almost like not coming on to Rickon, but like subtly flirting.
Yeah.
And Devin is immediately like jealous or just like, I don't know. Like you can immediately see that dynamic with them. And Rickon has no idea. He's just so happy that like his book is
getting attention.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
All right. So let's move on to Mark and Helly's innies.
Okay.
Well, Helena, whatever, depending on where you stand on that. So Mark prints a bunch of missing person posters of Miss Casey that someone hand drew. He hands them out to the different different team coworkers in MDR. And so he and Helly decide that they're going to go to the mysterious goat department to see if they know anything.
By the way, I wanted to mention, because I have this under, Mark and Helly, but really interesting scene, the very beginning of the episode where you're talking about Mark getting ready to leave to go to work. You see kind of a brand new picture of Gemma too, like on his, that we've never seen before, as he's getting ready for work.
Okay, I had this because I have
that separate?
I have a separate section for Mark Audi.
Okay, all right.
Because that's like kind of different, but so and then he asks Irving to go to O&D, which he's obviously very hesitant because he hasn't been back there since Bert's gone.
Yeah.
And then he asks Dylan to go to the break room because maybe other people use it. And he's like, oh yeah, I will later. I'm kind of in a groove right now. So then Mark and Helly leave.
So there is a scene right around then where Helly touches Irving's hands, like kind of comforting him.
Yes. This could be
and saying, we got you.
Mm-hmm.
And if she really is Helena right now, like she's laying it on very thick because we know how cold she is on the outside. And you can even see Irving's face, just like with the first episode where he's like, you don't seem like Helly.
Right. Well, that's what I was saying. Like, because Helly was like, not that she wasn't nice, because she was nice.
Right.
But she wasn't that nurturing.
She wasn't like that. No.
And I think, and it's the same. I was going to point out like the next, but yeah, okay. You're right. That's also a good spot where it's like, she's not acting normal. Because then as they progress down the halls, there's the moment where it's just her and Mark in the hall before they get to the goat. And this is also very, because it's like, she doesn't know what to do.
Yep.
There's this like moment where it's like kind of some sexual tension. You know, and they're like, they're alone. And then she's like, should I kiss him? Should I not?
Yeah. And they don't say anything. They just,
and he's just awkwardly there. And she doesn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And I think our other Helly would have either done it or not done it, but wouldn't have wavered so much.
Yeah. So I think it's good. Like what our feedback mentioned does seem like she's maybe jealous of like, or she wants to feel that. Helena wants to feel that.
I think that's what it's like. I mean, yes, that's jealousy, but it's more like it's opportunity to rebel. Maybe is the best way to put it. Right? Like she has to be so a certain person being the
on the outside, like always,
outside, that being going in as an any, even if it's a fake any, she gets to be someone else and let all her controlled facade, let it just like go away, and she can kind of do stuff. But then like she doesn't know how to be that way, so she's like awkward in that, and then she and then she's scared too, I think, because she's not sure what to do, right? So it's like because not her natural state. But yeah, so then they move along and they find the goat place, and there's nobody there, but there's a little tunnel that they start crawling through.
Yeah, and I don't remember this tunnel in season 1 when we get this room.
It also depends on how they framed it.
I guess, yeah.
Because they kind of framed it just to the side.
I think you see most of the room though, and he's just in the center, like feeding the goat.
But I don't know if you ever see all the walls.
I guess, yeah.
So it'd be hard to know. I mean, you'd have to go back and freeze frame it, but like and watch that scene again. But it could easily have been the way they framed it. Be like, oh yeah, this could have been.
This was always here.
This could have been the other wall that you didn't see. But, so they start crawling in. I love the. He's like, careful, there's poop.
Yeah.
This is great.
Yep. This is funny. This is just like just a access for the goats to go from this little room into
the big room that we were going to see. But the other little note I had was, it was interesting when they were walking these halls, the lights were just staying with them. Yep. They were going off behind them. And I don't remember them doing that before.
They did when they had their like mental health walk. They said, they mentioned in season 1 where they go off, and when they first find the goats in season 1,
they were going off.
I think it was. Yeah.
I remember them like there was motion detection to turn things on, but I didn't know. I didn't remember if that was going on. But maybe, So then they get to the other side of this tunnel, and this large room with a grassy mound,
roaming hills,
and there's goats everywhere.
Yeah,
and they're like, "What the heck?" And so they start climbing and they find a lady.
Yes.
On the other side, Lorne,
yep,
that's her name, played by Gwendolyn Christie.
Yes,
from Game of Thrones.
Yes, Brienne of Tarth.
Tarth. Yes, fantastic.
One of the best characters. From Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
she's a great actor.
Mm-hmm. But also love the like quick shot of the guy that was dressed as the goat, standing up watching them as they come in, and they don't see
a whole headpiece of
yes. Anyway, so they start talking to her, and of course she's like, "Are you here to kill us?"
Yeah, it's the first thing she says. Yeah.
And this whole interaction is funny and stuff.
It is.
But of course, then they're like, we're asking about Miss Casey. She's missing. And of course, then she reveals the mammalians nurturable is the department.
Yes.
It's a mouthful.
What does that mean?
I don't know. Did you look it up?
No, I didn't look it
I
up.
didn't either. But they play dumb like they've never met Miss Casey or seen her at first. And then they
yeah, but even this first interaction, like she says no, but like you can tell by her facial reaction.
So Mark pushes, and then she stands up and rings a cowbell.
Yes,
that says Lumen on it, which is always great. All the like labeled things.
I also love this room in general because it's just like very like these hills for goats to roam free. But like that mixed with like just the corporate walls and lighting.
Stark white.
Yeah,
walls.
it's such a cool like dynamic for the room.
And of course I was thinking, I was like, how does this stuff grow? Like there's not real sunlight in there. But yeah. It's
probably just fake grass like they use on,
Well, as the goats have to eat something, it can be fake grass. Anyway,
so they're just going around watering.
But then they have
everywhere.
all these goat herders, which is like seems like there's just as many goat herders as there are goats.
So I did also see, I don't know, something I watched. Someone pointed out that because I didn't notice it when I watched both times I watched this episode. One of the people is the guy from season 1 that was feeding them.
Oh,
so he's involved.
I didn't confirm that visually, but like I just assumed one of them was.
Yeah.
Because I figured, this show they would not do that. Right?
No, everything is
so intentional.
Yeah, there's so many details in this, and everything has a reason.
They all come around and kind of circle them, and like they're going to do something to him, and then of course Mark has another like good leadership kind of speech. He's like, "What if they do this to us? This isn't any problem, not a MDR problem."
That's right.
And then they speak up and stuff. And then turns out they share, oh yeah, she would come in and do her sessions in here, but we haven't seen her either. We don't know what happened to her. They told us she retired. That's all we knew.
The biggest thing though also is that she's like, basically we won't stop you now anymore if you want to continue to search for her. Yeah.
You can go. We won't say anything. And then they ask to see the belly buttons.
Yes.
Or the bellies.
Yep.
Just
see if they have pouches.
It's just hilarious. This is a callback to
Burton
1.
Irving, talking about it, which is crazy because I never thought that would ever even come back into play.
The other thought I had was, because we've talked about this before, do you think these people are permanent innies?
Yes, I think so.
Because like,
I don't think these are coming and going.
I can't imagine if they're coming and going and dressed like they are, and the dirtiness that they have, and like, because you imagine leaving, you'd be like, what do I do in there if you looked like that? Smelled like that. I mean, like, because with all those goats.
Yeah, even Gwendolyn Christie in this. Yeah, she looks very like dirty and messed up. Yeah.
So it was just a thought I had. I was like,
I think there's. Yeah, I mean, we know. Like I mentioned last week, Petey said there are people that don't leave.
Right,
so
right.
I think
Casey obviously didn't, because then people would know she was alive.
Yeah, it'd be a risk of anyone seeing her out in the world. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, just wanted to. And the guy, like, even after they showed the bellies, the other guy says, she says, see, they're pouchless, and he's like, this proves nothing.
This proves nothing. Yeah.
So he's like still not believing.
He's not convinced
because the rumor's so strong.
Yep.
All right, let's talk about Irving. So Irving does take the missing poster to O&D, where he runs into Felicia. But before he goes, he talks to Dylan about that he's been able to recreate the paintings that he saw.
Yeah.
Because what we didn't really get, we barely got any of Irving's back at the apartment. Well, I guess we got some, but like a little bit when he was like in the overtime continuum at the end of season 1, and I guess he saw the paintings, right? So now this any Irving knows what the paintings were that his Audi was painting.
Yep.
So he was able to recreate them, and then also like how he tries to get Dylan to go with him, and Dylan's like, I think it'd be more stealth if you
Yeah, so he said you should go for stealth.
Dylan's like trying to blow him off. And just as it's what happened, Miss Wong shows up.
Yeah.
And he's like, Hall pass.
That's what I wanted to bring up. I was like, I'm glad that because we were wondering that from the video from first episode. What does that mean? And yeah, it's
Which Mark had his too, like walking
right.
around.
Yeah, so it's just they can just roam anywhere
Which means they're
freely.
supposed to be able,
Yeah, I guess that's it. Yeah.
Which I liked. Also, I forgot to mention when they're all together before they start splitting up. They make a comment and nod to the same thing we all think is like, well, they said that they're listening or not. They've been listening,
right.
And it's like, well, the double meaning of that. And Dylan's like, I thought that meant that they were listening to us, like eavesdropping, listening.
Oh yeah.
So I continue to love they call out the things that you as a viewer think, and it's like, oh yeah, no,
yes, and they ask questions that you're asking.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's always great how they do that.
Yes.
Anyway, so then he goes alone, runs into Felicia back at O&D.
Yeah.
And he shares his sketches of Bert that Irving has done. And then they're reminiscing. She's telling him, he never saw him scared except for when he was prepping and doing his hair for meeting you. This is all this stuff. And then he starts showing the pictures, and then they get to the end of the pictures where there's the replica of the painting.
Yeah.
And she's like,
the elevator.
Yeah. And she's like, oh, how do you know about the exports hall?
Yeah. This is weird because it was the testing floor. Is what Cobell said it was in season 1.
Well, right. So it's a different floor, or are they sending her to the testing floor? And that's why she had to go down the elevator.
Oh, sure. I guess it would be both. It's the export hall to the testing floor. There you go. Okay.
But the export hall also maybe, because she's like, we used to send a lot of shipments there.
Yeah.
And we used to go there, or police used to go there, and they take the products they made, but now they send a guy. So I guess someone else does it now. But yeah, so that's interesting. Of course, we got a little bit. I'm sure we'll get more, since this show's not really been holding back. So yeah. And of course, the whole premise of this season seems like to find Gemma / Miss Casey.
Yeah.
So I think
I also I won't mention them on the pod just in case if people don't want to know, but I've been checking regularly to see if we ever get to see the name of every episode in this season, and finally all of them are up on IMDb. I don't know if they're accurate, but they all have names. So
okay, very
interesting to see the name of each episode.
But yeah, I think that's the gist of that part, right, with Irving. I mean,
it's still interesting that he's the character we know the least about.
Right. We still haven't got much of his outie.
We don't know what he did when he showed up at Bert's.
Yep. And then of course Bert followed him back.
Yeah.
We saw that last episode. And then who was he talking on the phone, the payphone?
Yeah.
In the last episode too. So, because again, he had the map, he drew a bunch of stuff. So he was definitely, his outie was working on investigating
doing a lot of
women.
stuff,
Yeah. And so we still don't know much of that, but
nope.
All right. So then we get Dylan. Just, I think, my favorite part of this episode. This was so cool.
Yes,
and different.
This was very cool.
So Dylan.
This is another thing. I was like, I can't believe we're doing this already in the season. I thought this would have came later.
Miss Wong comes and takes him. She's like, come with me, please, Dylan G. And they go to the security room, and he's freaking out. He's like, oh crap, this is where things went down. But then once they open the door, it's the new visitation room for outies. And his wife's there, Gretchen G. Gretchen G. So this interaction is so cool because this is the stuff that we're dealt with in this episode or season 1, and now again here in season 2 of is the outies and innies two separate people? Right. Again, to the throuple comment, and right. But and it's just the wording. She's like, well, you, I mean him, because it's well, you are the same person, but you're not the same person. This all this dialogue, and it's so sweet and endearing, but then also weird at the same time. And yeah, I thought it was the interaction was great.
Yeah. Did you get the feeling that she has more desire now for his innie than the outie? Because also the scene we see after this, which I don't know if we're going to talk about that also.
Yeah. I was going to keep
how
that in.
she is her interaction with Any Dylan versus Outie Dylan is very different.
I didn't think about that, but that's what you're saying. Yeah. Well, I'd imagine.
And that would be really crazy if they go along that to where like she falls in love more with the Annie, and then like how does that work?
What I was going to say is I imagine he probably reminds her of how he was when they first met.
True.
Because I mean, we talk about how they're like, obviously they're like babies with their mind at some level or children,
right?
Because not babies, but children, because they haven't really existed, but only for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Even though they're grown adults. And so, I can imagine her being like, oh, these are some of the characteristics that maybe died in his, he didn't feel purpose and stuff because he couldn't hold a job and all that stuff. And then, whereas this Dylan, he kills it and like
it's getting all the perks,
the perks, the little finger traps and whatnot.
Yeah.
And so, maybe she sees some, even though they're the same person and it's something that's inside the Outie potential, but like he has, he's suppressed that and he's gone a different direction. Whereas this Annie has thrived. And so, yeah, I could see her being like, oh, this is the, this is how he was when we met. And, and it's kind of sparks that. But yeah, so, and I'll just say like, obviously the chat's a little awkward here and there. Find out they have 3 kids. And then she hugs him at the end. Well, so she verbally says, oh, Seth said this was going to be weird, which then Miss Wong's like, please no.
We can't talk about any of that.
Some of the stuff and privileged information, which then we find out when we see the Milchek scene that's Milchek's first name, Seth. Which
they've said that before.
Have they?
Yeah.
Okay.
They've said Seth before.
I don't remember anybody mentioning.
Yeah. Even in season 1, towards the end, I want to say they did say Seth.
Anyway, but Dylan didn't know that his first name.
Yeah.
Right. And, which I guess he still really doesn't know who that is. And, but then she gives him a hug and says, I love you. But she doesn't really know what to say back.
I think it's also a great scene to see, like, because we get a little more insight into why Dylan decided to undergo the severance procedure. Because, up until this point, he's had a lot of trouble holding down a job. And so he does this.
We got like a taste of that last episode when he goes to the interview at the.
Yeah, well, now that he's severed, he's gonna have trouble. Finding a job anywhere else. Yeah, so he's kind of forced to stay at Lumen. It was also funny when she showed a picture of the whole family. He's like, we live on a cattle ranch because it's like a Western.
It was like like you do at the beach or whatever it is.
It's like a tourist photo.
Yeah, that was great. So then we get to see Dylan at home as an Outie with her.
Yeah, when she's getting ready to leave for work.
Looks like she's going to work. She must work like a night shift or something. Yeah. And
she's wearing some kind of uniform.
Yeah.
Security or
something.
Cop or something. Yeah.
And and of course he's like, he didn't even make the cookies for something. She's like, they're ones you just cut up and put in the, it's like the simplest way to make cookies, and he didn't do them.
Nope.
I do like, he's like, well, how'd the thing go with me? Which was a funny way to say it, but true.
And she was like, it's weird, but good, or whatever. She said something like that.
Yeah, like a good weird. Yeah. But yeah, so. Yep.
So it's just, that's why I say it's just interesting, like if they go along with this plot line more, to where like she's only into Annie Dylan, like that'd be crazy.
So, and then the other thing is like, what do you think why are they manipulating Dylan so much? This, because it's obviously this all started with. Yeah. And they brought him aside and said, this is just between, Milchek. So this is between you and me, Dylan.
Right. Like they're not going to do this for anyone else.
I mean, at the same time, no one else has any family as Outies.
Yeah. But even so, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. But what is it that they're hoping to get out of Dylan?
I mean, it's got to be something specific, even though it's like really they just want to keep him distracted so he doesn't do any kind of uprising again. Because since he was kind of like spearheaded that by like, going to the security room and doing all that. So they could just keep him distracted anyway. So there's got to be a more specific reason. I have no idea though.
All right. The last and the big, oh my gosh moment is with Mark Howdy. So it starts with, we get Mark and Devin doing crafts.
Yep.
Reminiscing about kindergarten teachers or first grade teachers, something like that.
Miss Lustgarden. The most ridiculous name ever.
But it turns out they were making a light to burn in his retina the words, "Who is alive?"
This is so clever, but also like dangerous.
Yes. And this is why he was timing himself.
Yeah.
And counting to see how long he needed to get it to last.
Yeah.
And so then he heads out in his car to test it in the car.
Yep.
And while he's out testing in the car, he gets ambushed basically by Ragabi.
Yes.
Who was from season 1, has helped Petey
reintegration. Yeah.
Yeah. And eventually, after coercing him, he lets her into the car.
So when we get the scene,
yes,
where is this at? I have no indication of where this is.
That is
We've never seen this before.
That is it's so close shot and lit.
Yeah.
That you really just like a random kind of wood barn.
Right, but why did he go there? And why is she showing up here?
I don't know where he is. Is he near the college where she's at?
Yeah,
Has she just been keeping tabs on him since they last saw each other?
That's the only thing I wish they would explain more, like where he is and why did she show up there?
Either it doesn't matter or I'm sure they'll fill in.
Yeah, they probably will.
Because again,
they're the best.
They've been so particular about so many things that
and so confident that they're like, we're going to do this already 3 episodes into the season.
So she gets in the car and she basically tells him, yes, last time I saw her, she was alive.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, what? And then he's like, why didn't you tell me before? And she's like, well, do you remember? We kind of got cut short. And then you're like, oh yeah. But then he never went back to her. Yeah. Now again, it hasn't been as long as, it hasn't really been that long. I mean, for us, it's been 3 years.
Yeah.
For them, it hasn't been that long. So,
yep.
But
this is the first time he's hearing it as his outie from someone else.
Yes.
Saying that
someone that would actually know too, right?
Alive,
she was in there and she used to work there and she was the one that did severed procedure of him. So anyway, so she claims that she's gotten better at it, reintegration. Of course, beforehand in season 1, she mentioned that Petey just didn't follow protocol either.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, let's do it. Which again, this is what we're talking about. He's going to do the reintegration.
Yeah. In his basement.
Which is
where she sets up.
Yeah. So she sets up in his basement and we get this cool setup.
Still seems very sketchy and janky though, even though she says she's gotten better at it.
Yeah. Oh no, it definitely feels very rigged and all could go south really quickly.
Yeah.
And then we get these cool shots of his crossover where he's seeing both and you get a shot of him on the table like we saw Helly in the beginning, but it's him, and of course the cut between his innie look and his outie with the red sweater that he has on, which is interesting because he's never wore anything like that color like that at all, and innie or outie. But then I think they did it because so the visual would be more obvious.
Oh yeah,
choice of wardrobe, but but then really before it completes is when we cut to black.
Yes. She also, during the procedure, asked him a bunch of questions.
Yep.
Like all of them are pretty standard. But I thought it was interesting when she asked, what does MDR stand for? He starts to say mystic, and then that's it. So I don't know why
because he was still out. He was just making stuff
I guess
up.
He doesn't, doesn't
know.
And then just some other things. She says, what month is it? And he says, you mean what quarter? Which is so even just like we talked about, this town is named Kier. It's they go by quarters instead of months?
That's his innie coming through. So because he kept
okay, that makes sense.
So the reason he didn't know the answer to the one was because his outie doesn't know what MDR is. But then as soon as he was the innie, and when he asked what month it is, he's like, "Do you mean what quarter?"
Okay.
Because they don't know.
That makes more sense.
They don't know months in there, evidently, or don't pay attention, or don't know what month it is.
And then the final thing is, what is your first memory? And he doesn't know. That's interesting. And then.
So
Yeah.
Okay, so assuming this is where they're going, this is a huge thing to do right now. Like we're episode 3 of season 2. Like I said, like this is a thing you might do the final season.
Towards the end, yeah.
You not even at the end of season 2, but like say, hey, we're going to do 4 or 5 seasons. We're going to do this as like at the end of season 4 going to season 5. So the last season for this. Now, that being said, 1 hasn't officially gone completely good because we cut to black. So this could still be like, oh, it didn't work, didn't take, and then the story continues. But I don't think these people would do that. The writers of I think they're going to go with it. Also, they could right away how it somehow gets reset and or something. But also they could just go with it, and it could just be like,
it's just so exciting. Like every interaction he's going to have now is going to be so different with anyone and everyone.
So it's crazy.
Yeah. We also get, when he wakes up on the table, we get the voice saying, hey there, you on the table. I wonder if you'd mind taking a brief survey, 5 questions to start. Who are you? And that's kind of where it does cut. And I was trying to figure out what the voice is. I think it's Petey.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Is it? Okay.
That's what I thought. I mean,
I couldn't really tell. It didn't sound exactly like him.
Well, because it's...
But I mean, that would make sense because that's who did his orientation.
Right. And it's also his innie PD, not outie PD. So he would sound different, right? We only met outie PD.
Right. Besides those,
and he also was like a little
things that he was,
and he also was like a little already like messed up, and so whereas like happy go lucky any PD would probably sound a little different, just like Mark sounds a little different any and outie.
That's true.
Like the tone in his voice.
Yeah. So I also want to mention this needle drop for the outro is a banger. This is Eminence Front by The Who. Great song. They do really good with all the needle drops.
Yeah. It's all Ben Stiller evidently.
Yeah, and the first song at the beginning, I didn't know anything about that one, but this one I knew. Yeah, he
says what it is on the
podcast,
official podcast.
Yeah,
that he's like, it's from. It would have been from him and Patricia Arquette's, like, because I guess they're similar age. Like it would have been from there.
Yeah.
So he knew what it was. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of those comes directly from Ben Stiller, like taste in music.
I think so too. Yeah. It's there's so much in this episode. Yeah. And it's just like and
it's so exciting because
we got a lot more episodes.
And there's like still 7 more to go.
Yeah.
So but anyway, do you agree, disagree, things we left out, ideas, crackpot theories that you might have?
Yeah.
Let us know.
Do you want to hear the name of the next episode, at least the name of it, or do you not?
I think we can say it, but let's caveat.
Oh, no, I won't then. Don't worry about it. Yeah. Just because if people don't want to hear about that, that's fine.
No,
it's just a very interesting title, but
yeah, so I was prepping to say before Jared derailed it.
Sorry.
So if you have any things you want to say to us, please write in, email at feedback@screentimepod.com, or leave a comment on YouTube or Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or, you can also just like and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. And if you'd like, you can follow either one of us on Instagram. I'm at Jay Youngbar.
And I'm at Jared Youngbar.
All right. And praise Kier.